Good morning. Good morning. Good
Hello.
morning. How you doing, Brian?
Doing good.
Holding a Bitcoin long right now. That's what's on my screen.
Today is a FOMC day, isn't it?
Yeah. Happy FOMC day, ladies and gentlemen. On the indexes, I have found majority of the time these days are kind of slow grind, either up or slow grind down, kind of until the announcement. Things look kind of bullish overnight, but the indexes are seeing a pullback. Oh,
I am
adjusting my stop loss here, just putting it. As we put in that nice 5-minute bar on Bitcoin, gonna kind of use that low as my line in the sand here. Scrooge, good morning. To be honest with you, Scrooge, I think it's best to take it slow today. We'll take a look at the indexes, but my guess is we will end up playing a little bit of a waiting game. I mean, sure, we could make a bigger move beforehand, but I think more than likely we will kind of a slower day, whether it's a slow grind down or a slow grind up or just kind of some rangy action. My expectations are definitely managed. I'll maybe look for one. I do have some levels in play. I'll mark up. How about you, Brian? How do you normally handle days like today with FOMC?
I still play my setup as usual. I just go in with more caution. If it looks like the instrument I'm trading is whipsawing a bit, then I might lower my lot size than my average lot sizes. Right now I'm doing good. You can flip over.
Yeah, I can switch over
if you want.
I'll mark these levels up.
But I have 5 half lot positions right now on gold that I began shorting earlier.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but to your point earlier,
that's a nice trade.
Yeah, and I'm staying in there. It's got a lot of trend headed downwards now. This is on the 1-minute view. I was actually viewing it this way on the 5. I think the 1-minute just sort of showed the new trend a little bit cleaner. But to your point, hours ago when I was trading during the London session, I had a couple longs and a short, but it was very. Where's that area at? So my London zone would be, approximately this little flat line right here. Couldn't do much during that period. Just kind of going. I thought, well, maybe they're waiting on the U.S. to do the FOMC. I don't know. But I tried my hand at a few breakouts during that London session, but really only broke even. And then went in at full size a short time ago. I went in at let's see, right at 8. Yeah, I went in. I went in on this white line right there. Oops. So, and I'm just wondering how much further this thing's gonna drop.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good. Making new lows on the day after kind of breaking the lows of that range. I think we got room down towards yesterday's low for gold. It looks like. Oh, sorry, I would best. iFriend Entertainment, thanks, bro. Appreciate it. What is the strategy for news? I mean, yeah, I agree with Martin. I'm expecting a choppier market. Maybe I'm looking for one quick hit it and quit it trade. And then normally I come back for FOMC. I typically will come back after the announcement and kind of watch the last 2 hours of action and maybe take a post FOMC trade once the market kind of gives us a little bit more indication of a direction. Los Angeles, yeah, we read the YouTube comments. What up? What up, Los Angeles? Los Angeles. So to answer this question for you, yeah, the streaming software we use, we can see all the comments from YouTube, from Facebook, and from X or Twitter. But for some reason, we can't see the Instagram comments. So if you've ever commented on Instagram, that's why we didn't see it. But we do see it on YouTube. I was just looking at the charts too, bro. You gotta look at these charts too, man. Islamic Dye says buy. What are you buying? What gold? You're buying gold or are you buying indexes? I marked up my NAS levels. The overnight action on NAS was actually interesting. I traded this on futures a little bit, but this initial candle out of the gate on NAS was 100 points. 5-minute candle was 100 points pushed down when the market opened last night. And we immediately got this bounce and got this close right above my level here. And so I took an entry right here and was able to ride this thing back up to yesterday's high on my futures account. And like I said, I'm in the Bitcoin trade on my Forex account. Don't love that 5-minute, a bullish 5-minute candle failing there. My stops in small profits on this one. I would go short on NAS 100 all the way to 21,500. Look at NAS.
I finally gave NAS a look yesterday.
25. Did you? Yeah. I was just looking at Scrooge saying is short, looking for 21,500. Is that the price on Trade Locker, Scrooge? The 21,499. It would be a pretty solid. To be honest with you, so I heard for FOMC there's a 95% expectation that we're going to cut, or that the Fed's going to cut interest rates by another quarter basis point. So like if that's, say that is what we do, if we just do what's expected, I wouldn't even be surprised if we got kind of like a rally leading up to it. And for some reason, just because it was just what was expected, we see kind of an end of the day pullback. But if they don't cut interest rates, I could see a nice sell-off today. 21. He said all the way down to 21,499. What is it? That's way down here. Alongside manipulation, as in so like we failed yesterday's high right now. Like we got that big spike when the market opened overnight. We rallied all the way up to yesterday's high on NAS, and then we failed it. Are you saying that the failure of yesterday's high is a manipulation, and you're still looking for longs? Is that what you're saying? Add it, yeah. MD, I'm sorry, I don't know that language. Do you think gold can go for 26.35 before FOMC? Brian, your thoughts on that?
I was right. I was journaling.
Here, I'll put it up on the screen.
26.35. Yes, I think it can, but I say that only because it's in the vicinity of the current price.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's like right there.
Yeah, and it's testing my 4-hour key level at the moment. It's been back and forth through that key level for, again, what, 2 weeks now? Let's see, when was this? Yesterday morning, so about around 24 hours ago, it definitely tested that area. We didn't have FOMC yesterday, but yesterday it went down there, and that's why I could see it do it again. It's already sort of broke the ice with that price line to play with it. So I feel like anywhere between the current price and 26.35 is open market right now, free game. I would say the complete opposite had it not been testing that mark for a while, but it has. I'll just put it like this: I'm in that short until it possibly goes there.
Market is open.
See, now I want this thing to I want gold to crash down. Just do me a favor and crash.
NAS, so far pushing up out of the gate. My Bitcoin is still holding up. Gold staying ugly. We can sell off. Here, let me put the screen up. If NAS can sell off into this lower level here, and then we can rally and get back up above, I would be open to a long try. And what I would like to see for that would be something like this, that spikes down below, gets bought back up, and then gives us some sort of retest here that we could look to take a long entry around here, targeting back towards this upper level and high. But that's what I'd like to see. So if this spikes out and wicks back up and gets back up above, ideally too, I like to use opening prints. And this is our opening print. It's a yellow line I'm going to mark. So if that all lines up, if this level holds, we rally back up above the levels and give us kind of a retest of either the opening print or this level from above that creates a potential higher low. I'll look for a long opportunity on NAS. If we sell it below and stay below, I'm not opposed to a short underneath these levels either. But either way, my expectations are relatively low. Like we mentioned, pre-market, expecting a little bit of a slower market pre-FOMC. Brian, you mentioned earlier that you were checking out NAS for the first time, I think.
Yeah, I was comparing the chart to my layout that I put down for gold. You know, my confluences, drawing key levels. So I toy around with NAS about once a month, but purely out of practice. No trading. I just if gold is stalling out, then it gives me an opportunity to look over at NAS. I definitely favor an index more than I do like a Euro USD or something that I used to lose my ass on. But yeah, I was seeing Scrooge's question, wondering what's the process like once you actually pass.
It'll automatically activate. Yeah.
Yeah, you automatically activate.
They'll email you. Basically, they email you, say congratulations on passing, and then it'll say, you know, here are the credentials for your live funded account. And then I think you get a refund on the cost of the challenges once you get your first payout, which I think you can take anything over $50.
Yeah.
Los Angeles currently in first phase of a 5K. Nice.
I'd say the only kind of nuance when you get funded is you know, deciding how you want to do payouts and setting that little pathway up. I know I tested it out with about $50, something like that, just to, you know, I don't know how you do it, Tyler, but
what's that?
Well, some people will question, you know, now I haven't had to set up my payout withdrawal pathway in a while since funded, but at the time, I think it's Ethereum is the.
Oh, it's like I think it's USD. I don't know. Hold on, I'll look.
Yeah, but there's a net. You
Like the crypto that you get paid out in, you mean?
You cut
Is
out.
that what you're talking about, Brian?
About?
The crypto, like the payout, like what do you get paid out in?
I get no. That's not my question. I mean, I get paid out in crypto, but I think it's the Ethereum network, if I'm not mistaken. That's more detailish, but I was just expressing. You know, you want to be cautious in how you set that whole payout process up. You know, I'm always a bit I'm not a fan of crypto addresses, wallet addresses, and all that. I'm always afraid I'm going to make some stupid mistake and send my money somewhere.
Yeah, that I know that it can be scary sometimes.
You know, I mean, that in a nutshell, that's all I meant. You want to make sure that you have your payout choices aligned and what suits you best. Other than that, I think FunderPro does a super job on executing a fast conversion to a funded account. I in particularly liked how quickly they asked for my payment method of when I bought the challenge, and you know how quick that refund came. I really liked how much they were on top of everything without me asking.
Yeah, it should just kind of auto take care of it in general. Someone said, sir, as per what do you think after FOMC what we'll maybe do leg rally from here to upward for downward? You know, I think it's as traders, our job is not to predict the future. I think Brian and I both trade based off of the price action. So,
Yeah.
you know, for us to say what it's going to do after FOMC, it's, you know, we don't know. So basically, the way we would approach this is watch the price action, analyze what trend gold is currently showing, and what key levels that we may have, and then potentially look for a pullback to one of those levels to go either long or short. But we're making those decisions off of price action in the moment and not just kind of what we think it's going to do. Trade zone, no, we don't. I pretty much trade just the indexes. I'll dabble in Bitcoin as well. And Brian trades almost mostly gold. I think that's pretty much it. Every now and then he might dabble in something else, but definitely mainly gold. Are we past? You can do Scrooge. You can do Rise payouts. And Rise payouts, like you can just set your bank account up with Rise, and then Rise does like a instant deposit into your bank account from there. No, I don't think so. Right now we have Trade Locker and what is it? They added a new one this year. I forget what it is. C Trader.
C Trader. Yeah. You made me forget for a moment too.
Yeah. So to answer this question, what sets FunderPro apart is one, we fund our funded traders with real capital, A-book capital, which means your payouts come from the market. They come from your profits in the market. Whereas the typical prop firm model is you're trading on simulated funds and your payouts are coming from you know, the sales of the simulated funds. So that really gives us a guarantee that for your payout, there's no reason to ever not get your payout because it's coming from the market. And you know, when you profit, we profit with obviously with the profit split, right? So A booking is the biggest difference. So it's basically a payout guarantee in that sense. Also, it allows us to do super fast payouts. I think we probably have the fastest payouts in the industry. Sometimes they're seconds to minutes to the very, very most an hour or so typically. So really fast payouts, A booking, and yeah, so I would say that's probably what sets us apart the most. Brian, do you want to maybe show Los Angeles what levels you have below on gold if this support is broken? Which, by the way, I'm liking the NAS reaction right now. I'm still going to wait for us to get back up above this level and give us a potential higher low, like I mentioned before. But I currently am liking the reaction to this lower level. We'll see if it can hold. Still watching for now.
Yeah. Are you flash over to my screen? Yeah, yep. I can do that. I don't know that I have them all drawn on this window. Let me see.
US 30 has been red, I think, the last 9 days. It's been on its worst losing streak in a long time. I think since like the 70s or something I read yesterday.
Oh, goodness. So my next major key level is at 26.23 for gold. Was that the question? What would be the next
so what?
Support?
So
okay. Yeah.
Here I can pull the question up.
Thank you.
So
26.33.
Wizard.
26.33. Let me take a stronger look at this.
Wizard, I don't on FunderPro. I think you're asking if you can have your profits deposited into your broker account. I don't believe they have I don't believe they have anything like that in place currently. So you'd have to do to rise to your bank account and then deposit to your broker from your bank account. Trade zone, what is the process for withdrawing profits from the funded account, and are there fees or conditions associated with withdrawals? The process for withdrawing is you just go into your dashboard and request a withdrawal and the amount that you want it for, and whether you want it to go to your Rise account or to your crypto wallet. And it's the only conditions are that your profit has to be more than $50. Ton, December can be tricky. I think the market just in general is in a tricky spot right now, depending on what you trade. Like for me, the indexes, NAS has been at all-time highs. NAS has actually been kind of decent to trade in December just because it's gone up if you just bought longs for the most part. But at all-time highs, plus the futures contract rolled recently, and I don't have a whole lot of levels up here. So it's been a little tricky for me as well. And like YM's been so weak while the NASDAQ's been so strong. So the indexes have definitely been tricky. I agree. And a lot of times December is just slow, lower volume. Traders taking off for the holidays. People that trade full time really start to, I think, slow down sometimes this time of year. Bitcoin looking good for a buy. Bitcoin stopping me out, but it is it's holding a level that I have pretty nicely. Nice bounce so far. Say that there's potential longs in there. US 30 and the Russell both trading above their opening prints. SPX and NAS both trading below their opening prints currently. All the indexes still in the middle of yesterday's range, which isn't super shocking.
Where you at on questions?
Should be a sharp long in Bitcoin. I think we're pretty much caught up. Trade zone said, what time frame do you guys trade? I pretty much watch them all. I'm aware of what's going on in the weekly and the daily chart. And then from there, I pretty much go down to the hourly chart, which is how I chart my support and resistance levels from the hourly chart. And then I actively watch the 2-minute, the 5-minute, and the 15-minute in conjunction with each other and the higher time frames of an hourly, daily, weekly, and make my decisions based off of that.
Yeah, you definitely need everything. But I execute, pull the trigger on my trades on the 1 minute most often. When I actually pull the trigger, it's on the 1 minute, just so I get the best out of the candlestick I can. But the only thing I would add on to what you said,
instead of the 1 minute,
yeah,
just for like a little. I feel like the 1 minute has a little bit more fake outs. The 2 minute just has a little bit more it makes me be just that that extra minute more patient or whatever. Is why I use the 2. But
yeah.
Our company is very stable. I mean, it's not our company. We're just we trade with them and host the stream. Bitcoin's on the way. Yeah, Bitcoin's looking good. If you took that Bitcoin long, that's a nice bounce. I'm going to focus on NAS. I think if we can get a little push above the opening print here, that then gives us a pullback and a test from above. I like the wick on the 15-minute on NAS. Gold's still just melting down. Gold's been, it went from being super hot when it was hitting all-time highs. And
there we go.
It's been either rangy or bearish recently, as of recent. Walter took the craziest short on NAS today in Cam's live trading Discord. Dude, so Cam's 5 a.m. strategy, right? I had NQ longs last night based off of what I explained earlier. And my target was yesterday's highs, which we got. And so I closed my long. And I thought to myself, man, this is Cam's 5 a.m. strategy is lining up to perfection here. We got a bullish 5 a.m. candle. The spike above that candle was into yesterday's high. And I was like, oh, damn, we're going to reject yesterday's high and we're going to sell off back down. I was like, I should take this short. I should take it. I caught the long. I should now ride it back down. And I didn't, because I was like, I'll kick myself if we trend all day. And so I didn't take it. But it worked out. It worked out good. Again, that 5 a.m. strategy, he broke down on the stream. But that's fire, Walter. I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering that. I don't use fair value gaps, and I don't know what a fair value gap trap is.
That's a lot of.
I mean, I know it's like an ICT concept, and it has something to do with a candle pattern, but it's not something that I use. What time frame are you like seeing that on? So I can just like I can see what you're referring to on the fair value gap trap. What financial instruments do you have experience trading? I have traded stocks, options, futures, forex. Sports cards. Do you take any profit on your 1 minute? Oh yeah, I'm definitely not watching the 1 minute. We're so this is the range levels I had here. We got a nice rally back up, spike below the levels like I wanted, but we're now rejecting the upper level. So I'm still gonna stay patient and let us get back up above the level opening print and give us a potential higher low before I try long. If we fail back underneath and start to downtrend and give us potential lower high underneath the levels, I'm not opposed to a short either. Oh, it's a difference in options than indices. So the indices, right? The stock market is made up of individual companies like Tesla, Nvidia, Amazon, Meta. Those are like some of the bigger tech names. There's obviously thousands and thousands of different companies that are publicly traded companies in the stock market, and the indices are groups of those individual stocks, right? So like the NASDAQ is a group of I think 100 tech stocks, and the ones that are weighted the heaviest in the NASDAQ are Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, Meta, Tesla. So that's kind of how the indices and the stocks work. And then there are options, which you can trade on individual stocks, or you can trade them on the indices, or you can trade them on ETFs. But they're options. They have expiration dates, and they're basically a leveraged way, a higher leveraged way of trading stocks. There's a lot. Options can get complicated. There's a lot of different things you can do with options. Some people use them for long-term investments as a way to enter and buy stocks. Some people use them as like a day trading tool or swing trading tool. But yeah. So hopefully that answers your question. I can't tell you that, unfortunately. Walter passed the combine today. Good stuff. Yeah, the spreads. I know the spreads on crypto are a little tough. It's why I stick to the indices, to be honest with you. I think it eliminates some of your edge, unfortunately. Oh, this NASDAQ chart's going to make a liar out of me. If this 5-minute triggers, I'm going to want to take an early entry.
Oh, describe a time when you experienced significant loss in a trade. What went wrong?
Oh,
Mine
boy.
is being inside of a trade during a news event that was not restricted by FunderPro, and I was in a FunderPro account, lost almost 2% in one moment of a 200K account, live account, funded account. That was disturbing. Which big one is it that can kill you? I go look at my journal here. Must have been Jolts. Yeah, the job openings and labor turnover survey. Not restricted by FunderPro, but one event that you do need to be cautious of. That one took me for a lot one time, a few months ago.
Bitcoin, the Bitcoin 15-minute never triggered for me. Headed back down towards its lows. Nas sell. I'm not convinced on a Nas sell quite yet. Although the US 30 strength, and something I've talked about a lot, but the US 30 strength and the fact that they have moved so opposite of each other recently, it makes me be like, yeah, maybe we'll. But right now, looks like we're gonna head back and test the opening print. I think, at least first. I almost took an entry here. It's a little bit of a early entry, but I'm gonna wait and follow my plan, which is I wanted to see this. I'd like to see this close above and then maybe come back and give us a little bit of a retest that gives me a buy setup. I hope you didn't hop in them Nas shorts yet. The Nas higher time frame trend is just so strong. So it's just not something I'm excited about shorting. Arbitrage? What? That's a good question. I feel like that's like if you like work in finance.
God, a little bit of a delay on Trade Locker. Arbitrage is just simply the going long and going short on the same instrument.
Yeah.
Just to calculate the differences between, or
that's not between. I mean, yeah, you could kind of, I guess, also call that hedging to some extent, but that's not.
Yeah.
That's not the way I trade. I've never.
You have to have a big account to make that worth it, you know.
Yeah.
Because you're truly looking at those tiny, small price variances.
Yeah, personally, I would not suggest it for just like a retail day trader.
Right.
Addy, yeah, I love this. I love this statement. It's just a manipulation. I thought it'll come down, according to me. Well, hey, listen. As much as according to us, we want stuff to happen sometimes. We don't normally, we aren't normally the ones who get to say.
Trade and pray. Does that work?
So I have a couple theories on this trade zone. One, I think it's just the psychological difference for some people of it. Like, okay, you're going from a challenge where it's like worst case scenario, you lose, you know, your $150 or whatever it is that you spent on the account. And so your risk is relatively low. And then on the other side of it too, even like when you're winning, right? You're not like actually making money. So like you're less inclined to want to like close your winning trades early because it's just like, okay, your goal is to pass the challenge. So you try to let those trades run to those profit targets, right? So where once you get to a funded account, it's like, oh, I'm making money. So maybe you start closing those trades a little quicker to lock up the profit. Maybe, you know, it just messes with you psychologically where you are just over managing your trades when all of a sudden there's like money on the line and you can withdraw potentially. But to me, honestly, more than anything, I think what it stems from is there is something that happens in trading, and in my personal opinion, I think this is probably one of the most common things that happens to traders, and one of the things that keeps traders from becoming successful long term. And it's the euphoria that happens in your mind once you go on a winning streak. It, you know, just different things are happening in your brain. You're starting to feel confident, potentially overconfident. You're getting these dopamine hits repeatedly where you're winning, so you start to think you're invincible potentially. You start to think, all right, I've got this trading thing figured out. That can lead to start to sizing up a little bit. And so I essentially have a theory that when you're taking a challenge, in order to pass the challenge, you kind of have to go on a hot trading streak, right? You kind of got to go on a winning streak. So as you go through phase 1 or phase 2 of a challenge, you're stacking wins, you're stacking wins, you're stacking wins, you're stacking wins, and then boom, you pass the account, you're funded. Now even more of this like feeling of euphoria, and you're getting that taste of success. And like I think that all kind of like adds up and accumulates, and potentially too, you caught good market conditions, right? So like while you're in your challenge account, the market's trending and you catch really good trades. And so then all of a sudden, all these things are lining up against you. The feeling, the mind, that the things that's happening to your mind from being on a winning streak and the negative effects that can let creep into your trading, on top of you just had really favorable market conditions for this week it took you to pass or whatever it was. And all of a sudden, the week you get funded, the market slows down and consolidates for a week. And you're still trying to you're still trying to go on this winning streak, and things all of a sudden it's slowed down. And I think all of that can kind of spiral together. And which is why I personally think that traders oftentimes blow their funded accounts pretty quickly. I think it's sort of accumulation of all of those things working against traders. So I think it's something you need to be very cautious of and be aware of it mentally. Like, okay, I was just on a win streak. It's, don't overmanage your trades in a bad way, but also don't be overconfident, oversizing, and let that happen. So hopefully that helps. I know that's kind of a long explanation.
It's definitely a long-term consistency factor. Even if you keep your risk management the same, you keep your trading sizes the same, wouldn't you agree that you have to be considerate of changes in the market overall in the big picture?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's it too, because like you take advantage of certain market conditions when you're on a win streak, and those market conditions aren't going to just last forever that exact same way. So you then have to be prepared for things to slow down. So whether it's you trade a little bit differently because you expect the market to kind of slow down a little bit, or you just stay patient and don't overtrade when the market is slowing down.
Many people focus solely on passing the challenge without considering the long-term consistency, that's required to maintain the funded account. And I think, at least I know that hurt me a great deal. You pass and you think, oh, I'm good to go. You better be willing to adjust slightly and always be studying. You can be on a strategy. That strategy will not hold forever. It can go and come back, but no, I don't believe in any strategy being year round. Gosh, Gold, doing me a favor right now.
Oh yeah.
Time to duck off another part of this trade.
Ooh, baby, nice. Brian's crushing it right now, baby. Let's go. Nice. So you're up. Is this a challenge account?
Yeah, it's the two-phase 100K challenge. I've never done a two-phase till this one. I wanted to try it out. You get
Nice.
more
So
leverage. Yeah.
you're up like 5, almost 6K.
Yes. Yeah, I started it 6 days ago. Yeah, this one 6 days ago. So I thought, let me try my hand at using the higher leverage version of the challenge. The two-phase challenges give you higher leverage. I think twice as much as the one-phase fast track. And my goal was to average at 1,000 per day on the 100K account. Seeing if it would roughly take me 18 trading days. That would be the 18K total that's required to pass it. But with Christmas and New Year's coming up, the market's going to go a little bit off.
Yeah.
So might not happen until January, but so what am I at right now? On the day 6, I'm at 400 short. Well, if you look at my equity.
Oh,
It's kind of why this trade's important to me. I wanted to get to 106 today.
Yeah, it looks like she could keep melting too. Oh, so I'm going to answer this risk to reward question. I definitely aim for a larger risk to reward. I don't 100% agree necessarily in defining your reward. I like to let runners run and hold trades and see what the market will give me, as opposed to closing. I typically trail my stops, manage my trades that way. But I would, I aim typically for a minimum of like 1 to 3 for the most part. But I mean, I sometimes will catch a 1 to 10.
Yeah.
The way I trade.
Like I in no way do this business.
We talked about the arbitrage question. We don't really suggest it. It's like when you're going long and short, kind of hedging. Key economic indicators. So I trade using technical analysis. I'm aware of certain economic indicators and economic events, like for instance today, the interest rate cut decision, and certain things like when there's data and stuff like that. So I'm aware of when those things are because of how it affects the market, but I base my trade off of technical analysis and trends and things like that, and not necessarily off of fundamentals. So I wouldn't say there's any one thing that I'm kind of always watching. I'm just kind of aware of when there's news in the market, and just kind of proceed with caution when there is. No, I don't trade smart money concepts. If anybody follows this guy on Instagram, his name is Rake Trades. I learned trading from him, but I basically trade using trend analysis, candlestick analysis, levels, support and resistance levels, and I think what the other kind of what else? How else I would explain it? Oh, multi-time frame analysis. So how like the time frames are interacting with each other, and how you can use that to your advantage. So those are kind of like the 4 pillars of my trading. A lot of that information comes from a book, a guy named Al Brooks. He wrote several trading books. One of them is called Reading Price Charts Bar by Bar. So a lot of like the candlestick analysis and trend analysis and that kind of thing comes from Al Brooks. All of the like multi-time frame analysis and the way I find my levels and all that stuff comes from Rake Trades. And then from a psychology standpoint, in terms of like how I manage my trades, Tom Hugard, the book Best Loser Wins, is my favorite trading book. I definitely try to apply the things that he talks about in that book to my trading. Master in disguise or master in disguise. Turtle. I don't know if I know. Al Brooks is definitely. I get the turtle reference. I don't know if I've ever seen the master in my disguise or master of disguise person, but I can see what you're saying based off of how Al Brooks looks. He does kind of look like a turtle. I don't know if Nas is going to give me my entry. We got the little pullback like I wanted and missed. We didn't test the level by like a tick. And so I did not enter. We'll see. We'll see. At this point, I don't know if I want a harsh pullback. It's a nice looking 15-minute chart for higher, but I would like to get an entry a little bit closer to the level. Caught a winning trade this morning, so I don't want to force anything. Bitcoin still looks decent, to be honest with you. Decisions. How are you guys doing, chat? Anybody taking any trades today? How do I handle Yeah, I think that just comes with experience, a lot of screen time, that you know, you kind of got to get used to it from a mental standpoint. Spent the last 3 years staring at charts, probably way too much time. The amount of time I've spent from market open to close watching every 5-minute candle print on a chart is a lot. I feel like in my 3 years of screen time, I've gotten more screen time than most people probably have. So I feel like I've seen like kind of everything the market has to throw at you. When I first started, it was like right at the COVID top, right? So like COVID happened, the market had a bunch of fear. We got a big COVID sell-off which led to like a 2-year rally in the markets, massive bull run post-COVID. And so I started trading like right at the top of that. So like the market started getting pretty bearish and pretty choppy and pretty tricky to trade. So that's kind of was my introduction, which I think is good. I think a lot of people got into trading during COVID and it was like pretty easy. We just like buy calls every day and trading was super simple. And then as soon as the market got hard, a lot of traders got smoked. And good morning, KG. But yeah, so I always look at that as a blessing in disguise. When I first started trading, I started trading in a really tricky market. So that, I had to deal with that. And then it kind of pretty much stayed tricky for a while. And then I think it was November of last year, we started back on another massive bull run. So, I've been through some bearish markets. I've been through some really choppy markets. I've been through some bullish markets. So I think that just comes with experience. And I think if you journal your trades, review, look at the data, like having all that information helps you in your confidence with yourself and your trading.
Definitely treat your trades like one of many trades. Don't let a bad trade in the day to like completely define your confidence level. Wouldn't you say? Like when your emotions start to spike, you sometimes have to step away, but you definitely can't change your strategy. That might have pretty good edge just because you had a bad.
Even if your strategy has a good edge, you're going to go through losing streaks. Brian, TP secured. Nice trade, dude. But yeah, just like what Brian was saying there. Oh man, I just drew a blank.
You have to have a predefined strategy, and if you have rules for every way of getting in and out of the trade, you won't have emotions when you trade. You honestly have to not give a hoot on what the trade's doing. Your job is to just react to the market's price action based on your rule set. The more you have that, I think, written down, the better you are.
Oh man, Nas is looking so tempting, but we're right at the overnight opening print too. Oh, it just has not set up exactly how I've wanted. Still try to stay patient here. At least 2 months out of the year you'll lose. Yeah. So like this is what I wanted. Brian, you said something that made me think of it, and it's you said take a step back sometimes. I think it's super easy inside the price action of any given one day to get kind of lost in the sauce, for lack of a better term. But you kind of, you just put everything into that day, which maybe you take a loss and you try to make it back, and you take a bigger loss than you wanted to, and then just like, sitting on that loss into the next day and waiting to come and try to make it back then is just like, it's a hard thing to do as a human. Like, you're down, you want your account to be up, you want it to be growing. So like, it's so easy to just get blinded into like, I need to make this loss back today. At least I know for me. And like, it's really difficult for me sometimes to like be like, wait, pause, take a step back, think like long term here. Are you thinking too emotionally? Are you making rational decisions? We've talked about this before, but like setting even alarms on your phone that are like reminders to kind of just step back and take a breather and stay patient. Because it's really easy to get kind of lost in the sauce. Ton 16, how long have you been trading? I should have a max loss per trade, max loss per day. It keeps losing. What is this a game about? Yeah, it really is a game about losing properly, Scrooge. So I love the name of Tom Hugard's book, Best Loser Wins, because you really got to be able to let the losses not affect you, to be mentally ready for the times when the market's good. I like that, Scrooge. Yeah, I agree. If you like, something that I will do, and sometimes with like prop firms and stuff too, this is definitely like, the way to do it, because you got to reach certain targets or whatever. But like, I'll have a price, like a profit that I'm happy with on the day, right? For instance, say it's like $200. So like, if I take a trade and I'm in, say, 5 contracts and I'm up like $400, like I might lock 3 of those contracts to lock a little bit over $200, move my stop on break even to the other. It's like, okay, so I know I have $200 that I'm locked in for today. And now like, let me kind of play with these other 2 contracts and see if I can make more. But not willing to give back that 200. You know what I mean? Yeah, Mark Douglas is really good too. 4 years now, finally starting to get payouts. It's awesome, man. That's awesome. 4 years now, starting to get payouts. And that it took me, I would imagine, pretty close to 3 years before I was getting payouts. The only way you fail as a trader is when you quit. So if you keep putting in that work, working on that discipline and your strategy, and we can all get there, baby. Man, Naz really just isn't going to give me the entry. Oh, Bitcoin looks pretty good though. I think I might maybe dabble Bitcoin.
Where's it at now?
Oh, wow. Why does it look way different? I'm looking at the 15-minute. Okay. I was looking at it on 2 different things. I'm like, wait, the 5-minute, that chart looks different than this one. But Bitcoin's at around 104,000, I believe.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
I'm gonna try this 15-minute potential higher low on Bitcoin. Oh, that spread though. I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna do it. That didn't give me the entry that I necessarily wanted. Gold took a nice bounce. The gold futures level I have, really nice reaction. I start, not for you, Brian, but for in terms of holding a support. Pretty good bounce so far.
Experience with algorithmic trading and using bots.
I've never done it, to be honest with you.
I've done it some, but trading in bots can be a game changer when you do it right, but they come with definitely their issues or challenges. That the most important thing with those are back testing against a diverse set of data. But
Yeah.
any experience? I don't really have a lot of it. I have a lot of experience programming because I have formal training in that area. So I've done a lot of algorithmic programming.
Yeah, I know there are
But
some people who use bots and have done it and stuff. I don't know. I just don't think it's me. I definitely think it's possible to, to code a bot to do something that happens, a certain percentage of the time in the market and identify that and have a winning bot. But I don't know. I'm definitely more of a subjective trader myself.
yeah. And a lot of people go to bots because they think they can walk away for the day and let it run. But even the best bots need oversight. But one thing I've done an analysis on in gold is how algorithmic trading, you could say the trend of using algorithms over the course of the past 5 years. You can see, if you look at some of the charts, you'll see the difference on how gold has been reacting to improvements with bot trading. I'm not going to get into. Hey, maybe one day on this stream I'll get into that and show the how you're able to spot the increase of algorithms through time and how it's affected something like the gold USD instrument. It's very interesting. It definitely affects the markets over in a long-term sense.
US 30 breaking above yesterday's high. No, wait, never mind. Yeah, I guess the New York high. The New York high. Man, Nas just didn't give me quite what I wanted. I still wanted to come back.
What's your process for conducting due diligence before entering a trade? I keep this document with me. I have post-it notes on this piece of paper. I basically have reminders here about how my hypothesis works for market direction and targets and stop loss, and in what order I'm going to identify my confluences and price. Look at my last one. I don't know if it's a mirror image, but well, it says manage risk and patience right here. Tyler, do you have a process for conducting due diligence before you enter a trade? Usually that due diligence on my end's already happened hours before. I'm just going with my strategy and my rules.
Yeah, so I would say I know kind of what my strategy is and what I look for. And what I would say is I like to have my trades pre-planned, right? So like
exactly.
And so like what I mean by that is like how I said earlier, for me to take a NAS long, I would like to see us spike below these levels, rally, get back up above and above the opening print, pull back and test these levels from above with a potential higher low, and then I'll look for an entry. So like I would call my due diligence basically having that plan and then waiting to see if that plan plays out. Also, like my due diligence would be, having my charts marked up and having my levels in place and knowing where they are. So when the market opens and stuff like that, I know what I'm looking for and I'm able to create that plan based off of my levels. But yeah, I think having a trading plan and looking ahead is important. Like, okay, I'm not just going to take this trade to take this trade. It's like, okay, in order for this trade to be good to me, I'd like to see this happen, and then I will do this. And then you wait to see if that happens, and if it doesn't, no trade, move on to the next one. It's probably better to miss a trade than it is to force a trade and lose money.
Yeah.
as much as NASDAQ's going to give me FOMO because it's going to go hit my PT. Hopefully Bitcoin can make up for it.
Did you look at Andrew's question?
I was looking at the charts. Sorry. Andrew, indicators. You talking about this here?
Yeah, weren't we talking about this on Monday?
Yeah. I mean,
I was. I was asking your opinion.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, you were. Listen, I don't use indicators, but I don't think there's anything wrong with using indicators. I think the trading world and social media loves to like talk shit on indicators. It's like a trendy thing to do or whatever. But I know a lot of successful traders that use them. The traders that I know use them more for like trade management. So they're using like specific EMAs, which are good for trends, right? So like they take a trade, they're taking it based off of something else, right? But then when they're managing it based off of it holding a specific EMA or not, right? So I think there's reasons to use them for sure. Charlie Munger, who is Warren Buffett's was Warren Buffett's investment partner for a long time, said that if you just bought I think he said the 200-day moving average, if you just bought stocks that pulled back to the 200 EMA, you would outperform most investors. So like there's definitely ways to trade with using indicators. There's nothing wrong with it. So don't let anybody talk you out of it. If they help you, and that's cool.
You have to definitely be sharp on knowing how to take out your profits, take money off the table periodically, do partial take profits, and every indicator works. It's a matter of following your own risk management and keeping your stop losses in proper order. That's because every indicator has a losing streak, and so as long as you have that risk set up to keep it small on losses, then you'll actually be fine. But I like what you said. That's how I use indicators, is to manage.
Yeah, more for trade management than.
Yeah, I popped up the CCI a moment ago because I was looking at it on the 15 and the 5 because I'm looking at it to come up to negative 100, to come up inside the zone, inside negative 100, to tell me that this thing might start heading back up. That's a definite mathematic fact on some of these indicators.
Phase 1, phase 2, losing streak earnings. Ton, that's what I was talking about before, right? It's like you go on that winning streak through phase 1, you start feeling good, and then maybe going into phase 2, you're a little bit overconfident, and things can kind of turn on you. So you just got to make sure to reel that in a little bit. Bukhari, I hope I'm saying that right, Bukhari. I'm going to show you kind of what I use for a trade entry, which would be something that I call either like a buy setup or a sell setup. And it's also how I determine my stop loss. So for instance, looking at this Bitcoin chart, this is the 15-minute chart, right? So obviously, the higher time frames on Bitcoin are bullish. We are seeing, this is obviously a bearish trend downward, right? So we see a bearish trend downward. We break this low. We then hold that low and start to attempt to flip the trend on the 15-minute. Right? So like we make a new low, we kind of rally, hold this low. We go up, make a new high here, put in a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So the 15-minute trend trying to flip back into a bullish trend. Now we kind of fail here. But this 15-minute candle showed kind of signs of wanting to hold where we were holding before. I don't have it marked here, but I also have a Bitcoin hourly level from the Bitcoin futures chart that's like right here. But what I use for entries is to give you like the simplest of explanations is a candle like this. So if I want a long entry, I want it to be with trend. So it's if it's a bullish trend, I want a pullback in that trend, and then I want us to test lower and wick up, kind of fail to go lower. So put in some sort of hammer candle if I'm looking to enter a long position, and then I enter on the break above that candle. So for instance, for this 15-minute Bitcoin setup that I took, when this 15-minute broke this 15-minute high, now I'm showing my entry is here, but that's because of the spread. So you can see how when we break this candle's high and the spread, that's why I got filled up here. But my entry was when we broke this 15-minute high. So, and then my stop. So I use basically a 1 candle stop loss. Now this can happen on any time frame. This could be a 2-minute, this could be a 5-minute, this could be a 15-minute. In this example, I'm showing you a 15-minute. So we have the hammer candle. We have the break above the candle, which is the entry. The wick then below becomes our stop loss. So I use a one candle stop loss most of the time. Sometimes if it's an earlier entry or whatever it may be, maybe I'll go below like the low of the day if I want to give it some room. But it just depends on my sizing, all that stuff. But that would be an example. And you could for a sell setup, right? To show you an example of that is we have this obviously this downtrend that we were talking about on Bitcoin. It then tried to rally. It made this new high, came down, made this low, and then kind of failed to go higher here and put in this upper wick. So you could have said, hey, I'm going to take a short on the break below this candle. This could have been your short entry. And for that example, like when I do that, I'm probably going to put my stop loss above that like swing high instead of like using the 1 candle stop and going right here. In that situation, I would put my stop above kind of this swing high here. But that would be an example of a sell, 15-minute sell entry for me. And this is currently an example of a 15-minute buy entry for me. There's more to it than that, but that's kind of like the candle pattern that I like to see for my entry and stop loss. And in terms of take profit, I use that based off of like previous days high, previous days low, my hourly levels. But I also like to let the trade work. Ashton, I think that's probably a solid idea. Like we got, the indexes, they look decent right now, honestly. I still on NQ future chart, I'd like to see a pullback to 22,271. We can do that and kind of start to hold. I would look for a long, but I don't know if it's gonna come back. And the 15-minute looks like we want to go test the high again. Make some money go around. So I mean, in terms of if you're referring to me in like the 1 candle stop loss, yeah, I mean, I think the way I use it, I don't necessarily look at it from a percentage standpoint. I mean, I do a little bit, but like I could use a 1 candle stop loss and just increase my position sizing and still risk 2%. So I mean, I don't think that necessarily does it, but I think using the 1 candle stop loss. Okay, maybe you're talking to Ashton, not me. But I think using the 1 candle stop loss does allow for a high risk to reward. I like it. The chat's active today. I feel like I've just been answering questions, but it's good. I like chatting with the squad, baby.
What tools or software do you use to assist with trading decisions? I don't use any special software, but the tools, again, what do you, I mean, I look at the, Tyler, have you ever looked up the difference between strong, weak, and neutral candles? I like the basics. I use that as a major confluence on my entry points.
Yeah,
that's what I use. That's my secret weapon is understanding what a strong and a weak candle looks like and the probabilities that they carry.
So when you're using that in terms of like a candle,
Sorry about that.
candle perspective, strong or weak candle, are you looking at like a specific time frame to use that as a confluence? Like, are you looking at like whatever time frame you're trading on, or you're looking at like the daily candle, whether it's strong or weak, or when you're talking about using it for confluence?
Yeah. It is what I would call my execution chart time frame. So if I'm pulling the trigger on the 1 minute, that's where I'm actually going to maybe monitor the trade once it's positioned. But if I'm looking at price action and interpreting candle strength, I'm looking at the 15-minute.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I'll go in deep. I'll go like to the 5, and if I see multiple alignments of a strong or weak, whatever I'm looking for, then I'll I'll take that into consideration as part of what's making up my 15-minute higher time frame. But yeah, I don't look at candle structure on the higher levels or the very low levels time frames. Just right in that 5 and 15-minute area. But that's a good question.
Ashton, I think he was talking to you. I just think I was like talking about my candle entries, and I saw his thing. I didn't see your conversation from above there. US 30 leading the way on the indexes, which I don't think is all that surprising because it's good. It's been beaten down over the last week and a half. It was due for a rally, in my opinion. It's the only index that is now, it just broke above its pre-market highs. Everything else is still below its pre-market highs. She's still ripping, baby. Yeah, US 30 has been beaten down pretty good. I think it was a solid value buy today. I actually have tried to trade it the last couple of days, thinking like, okay, it's due for a rally here, and it smoked me. So today I was like, nah, I'm staying away. Not messing with dirty 30 today. We got the solid V pattern going though. We had the pre-market failure to go higher that sold off pretty harshly, and then pretty much straight up with a slow grind. I mean, not even much of a slow grind, pretty strong grind, push up on the indexes. Honestly, NAS a little bit choppier than the rest. The Russell, which isn't in Forex, the Russell is weak too. How do I handle periods of drawdown in your trading performance? I think sizing down is good. The natural human instinct is to try to size up and make it all back as quickly as you can, which a lot of times we'll just dig the hole deeper. So my suggestion would be to size down and then just try to put together small wins, stack some consistency, as opposed to trying to size up and make it all back right away, just to get rid of that feeling of being in drawdown. Saving it's consistently possible. This would just be, consistent risk management, and then having a strict set of rules for yourself, where it's a max daily loss limit, a max trade loss limit. Maybe it's a max number of trades per day. But knowing your data, right? So if you have a 50% win rate, okay, that's fine as long as your risk to reward is 2 to 1 or whatever it may be. You're still profitable. So knowing that you're going to lose half your trades. But the part that's important is making sure that your risk is managed every time. You're not, really trading is all about avoiding going on tilt, to be honest with you. Because it's what happens is you go on winning streaks, things go well, and then you blow it all up in one day or one trade, whatever it is, right? We're all so susceptible to going on tilt. Trading is waking up every day and trying to avoid going on tilt. The GBP news. Well, I don't know what GBP news you're talking about. Was it specifically related to crypto? Put in the chat what news you mean, and I might be able to tell you what I think. But I'm not really familiar with any GBP news on Bitcoin, to be honest with you.
You know, hey, back on that question on staying consistent.
Yeah.
Something I learned that made me profitable was sticking to one tested strategy. I used to bounce around between strategies, but when I found a method that fit my personality and trading style, that's when real results start to show. I
Yeah,
think
I
a lot,
agree with that for
yeah, a
sure.
lot of people hop between strategies. That's what I used to do.
Yeah.
And the consistency I'm trying to say comes from one approach over time. Then you can incorporate a second or third approach. But you have to master one before you can incorporate multiples simultaneously. What is gold doing here? I am about to go full
Tilt. Just kidding. Full flat.
full, yeah, go flat on that. I should have gone in heavier. I really wanted to get a little bit more on that balance today. We're getting closer and closer to the FOMC and closer to the London close. Closer and closer to Christmas and flatlined Forex trading.
So options trading, yeah, I mean, I trade the same way that I trade futures trading based off of like the trends and levels and everything like that. I don't add to my winning trades. Like I add to my futures winning trades to make my average price worse, but I don't do that with options just because options actually have a physical cost that come along with them. In the expiration dates and the time decay and all that. So there's a lot more that goes into trading options. They also can, they can move exponentially, which can be awesome. But like if you're trading something like SPIRE QQQ, which is like the NASDAQ or SPX, they have 0 DTE options. My suggestion would be to avoid those. You can make a lot that way, but they go to 0 really quickly. But yeah, I kind of like options for swing trading, to be honest with you. Taking something that's like a week or 2 weeks out in terms of like a expiration, and then holding it for a few days. Like I had a I forget it was a banking stock. I think it had consolidated for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and it looked like it was ready for a breakout. And I swung some options on it, and they opened the next day up over 1,000% per piece, which is pretty cool. I think I bought the options contracts for like $150 and sold them for thousands of dollars. It was pretty cool. So options are crazy. Like you can catch crazy moves, but there's a lot more to consider when it comes to how they're priced, the volatility in the market, their expiration date, the time. So I would take some time educating yourself on options before diving into them. I think sticking to one strat, Sammy, yeah, but I think you can have like different styles of entry that kind of fit within the same strategy. Hopefully if that makes sense. Kind of like nuances to your strategy, but still overall it's like still the same strategy. Or if you're doing something that's like a little bit different than your strategy, you kind of like you're aware of it. You're like, this is a little different for me, but based off of my experience, I'm going to go smaller size. But yeah, don't just abandon a strategy from a losing streak. SPX is back up to its upper level, kind of the pre-market high area where it failed. NAS is not quite there yet. You went flat. Mill said wait until after 2 p.m. to look. I think that's a solid strategy. Uh-oh. I lost Brian. Brian said, peace. I'm out of here. Oh, he's back.
Did I disappear?
You disappeared, yeah.
Hope that doesn't affect the recording requirement.
I think you should be all right. So what do you mean about liquidity? Brian's been showing his gold chart to us.
Oh yeah. You know, gold almost hit that area where we were questioned earlier. I think it was 2633. Earlier in the stream, we were asked if we thought gold would reach that area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's come close. It got as low as 2634. But I really think it's done. I'm monitoring gold on the average true range, and it is dying out.
Same. I am in a Bitcoin trade. I actually did end up taking a small NQ position on my futures account. I didn't want to take it on my FunderPro account while I was also in Bitcoin. I didn't want to be too overexposed. But I took a NQ long. We were consolidating at the overnight opening print, and I took a small long there, and about to take my first trim. But I think we're gonna go test the pre-market high. My first trim just got filled. I've cut about 40 points on the NQ. Bitcoin trades sitting right around my entry still. I took this one based more off the 15-minute. See if we can kind of rally, head back up to this swing high here. We'll see. We'll see. Bitcoin seems to move kind of after hours pretty frequently. Man, the SPX opening 2 candles were red. And then we put in one more red 5-minute candle. Every other 5-minute candle has just been green, just straight up. I'll show you the SPX chart. Like, yeah, let's see, this was 9. So the first 15-minute candle of the day was red, and we've been straight ripper. A V pattern. V patterns around. And the overnight action last night was crazy too. This 100.5-minute spike that just rallied and erased it all. And a harsh sell-off just erase it. Master psychology, make a book. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, with chat GPT nowadays, man, that book will damn near write itself. Chat GPT, write me a book about trading psychology. Let's see. Do we just stay strong until FOMC? Does we just get a Ripper Magoo? I did say pre-market. I said would not surprise me if we rallied into FOMC. They cut a quarter basis point as is expected, and then we sell off post FOMC. I don't know why. It's literally just a gut feeling I have, and probably not a short I'll be taking with how strong this higher time frame NQ chart is. All right, baby. Nas playing a little bit of catch up to US 30 and SPX. Still not at its pre-market highs, but she's still pushing.
So gold is looking very borderline bullish, like it's thinking about doing a pivot now.
Yeah. So I just want to explain why I opened the stream talking about my NAS game plan and why I missed the good entry, but essentially what I wanted to happen played out to basically perfection. I said I wanted to see a spike below these levels, get bought back up above. I considered longing this here, but I said, I'm going to give it the opening print. And right here, we got this rally, and we started getting this pullback, and I wanted us to test this level from above. And had we tested this level from above, I would have gotten into a NAS buy there. But we never tested the level, and then we instantly rallied and kind of got this push, and I didn't want to chase. My entry on NQ is like somewhere around right here, but yeah, so that's why. I mean, it played out exactly like I wanted it to. Spiked down, rallied up, just that pullback didn't pull back quite as much as I wanted. But it happens. It happens. I told myself I was sticking to my plan. I like it. We got some new we got some new people in the chat today, which is dope. It's been great chatting with you guys. We're going to be on for about another 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Margin call. No, I haven't. Like I've blown, like I've had futures accounts, but they just I don't think it is how it used to be. Like it used to be you would get margin called and they'd be like, hey, you got to add money to your account or something like that. I've had small, $500, $1,000 futures cash accounts, and they've just been liquidated because I didn't meet their margin requirements, and they just liquidate your account basically. Like my losses got bad enough where I still had some money in the account, but I didn't have enough to trade the margin, the position that I was in, so they just liquidate you. Basically, they just make your account go to zero. Jose. Danny, Jose time Elizabeth. Times. I was like, bro, who's Jose? Who's Jose time? But now I get it. Now I get it. You're talking to Danny Jose, and you're telling him that time is the best teacher. That one almost went right over my head. Nah, seeing a little bit of resistance at this upper level. I still think we come to tag yes, the pre-market high, yesterday's New York high. So that we can go get it. Hopefully, at least. But we'll see. I'm curious how this 15-minute will close. If this 15-minute closes pretty bearish, I think sells back down towards the opening print aren't crazy or off the table with FOMC and the potential of a range day waiting for the data or the announcement. Man, SPX and US 30 look good. So I think now's a hold up. I think now's a hold up if they both hold up, but we'll see.
What's your approach to position sizing?
So I mean, I think the standard things you hear like 1-2% I think is like all good, but when it comes to prop firms, I think people should base that percentage not off of the name of the account size, right? Like I don't think you should base your 1% off of a $100,000 account if that's what you're trading. I think you should base it off of your max loss limit. So like, say, so if like 10K is the max drawdown, for example, I think you should base your 1% off of 10K, not off of 100K when it comes to trading prop firms. And like I will, like I'm aware of like what the percentages are, but like my brain thinks more in like terms of like dollar amounts. Like, okay, I'm down to risk like $200 on this trade. I'm down to risk $250 on this trade. I'm down to risk $300 on this trade, whatever it may be. And I'll have an idea of what the percentage of my account that is, but I'm not like, okay, it has to be this percent every time.
Yeah, I have reasons why. I would downsize. Psychologically, I always start at the same amount of lot sizing. But
now, Brian, so you always start with the same lot size, which I know you typically trade pretty low lot sizes, but
not 100%, but yes.
Is your even if your stop like based off of the chart, right? Sometimes your stop loss might be larger or smaller. That doesn't affect your lot size, because for me that's what it would like. So if on NASDAQ, if have a 20-point stop, I'll give it a bigger position sizing than if I have a 40-point stop. Like you don't do that?
I did that previously. I don't do that anymore because I keep my stops a lot tighter now, and I put a safety stop in there, but that's not to reflect any real judgment subjectively.
Yeah, you
did say that. I put a safety stop in there because sometimes systems go down, and you can be explaining to a broker, here's the position ID, what happened. So to save the account, but then I will move it later on when I'm in profit, and most of the time I'm manually stopping out because I keep it so tight. That's because if I'm wrong about the entry point, like let's say I'm going long on a position and it comes back at me, I might go ahead and stop out pretty quick manually and then re-enter the trade a few minutes later if I think I have misread something or underestimated the movement of the price. So I don't necessarily give up on my entry. If I think it's about to go long or about to go short, I have reasons for that. That's a different conversation. Because of those reasons, it just might be, oh, okay, I'm just off by a little bit here. Let me give it another 5 minutes before I enter. So I will kill the order really quickly. If a position goes up or down, if it leaves without me, I consider that somebody else's trade. And there's a lot of psychology and emotions control that I exercise to not feel so robotic on overthinking those position sizes. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
I noticed my profits would go up when I focused more on risk management. So that means getting the hell out of the trade quicker than later. If I want to blow an account real quick, then I set loose stops and I rely on them to hit.
if I want to blow an account real quick.
I mean, we've talked about that, right? Like, if you're within like 1% of yeeting your account.
Yeah, I know. I'm a believer that like spending too much time in drawdown on a challenge account is more of a waste of time than it is productive. Like, and that just comes with like I've gotten to where I know my strategy, I know how to trade, I've gotten payouts, and like it's just like, all right, I'd rather spend the $150 on a fresh account and get myself out of drawdown and get to a point where I'm can get payouts again. But that's I think that varies for everybody's own psychology.
Certainly. I want to hear Kyron's version of that answer, because I'll try to remember to ask him on Friday's stream. He always has very defined rules that he follows that I have to admit, mine aren't necessarily written down anymore. They are, at one time were subjective. My rules are very objective now. I just see it and I know what my rules are. If I'm gambling, I go to that gambling account. If I want to overtrade, I go to my overtrade account.
I love it. Brian's got a yeet account. A yeet.
Hey,
yeet.
Yeah, you mean the best state of mind is to know when you're in what state of mind, switch to that account. If you have multiple accounts, regardless of their price value, just I have a Vegas account that I trade on.
I have a Vegas account. I love it.
Even if those accounts are challenges, you can have a
yeah, I agree.
Well, I wouldn't just blow it to blow it the account, but Sammy, I would everybody can take on multiple challenges at the same time and just get fed up with one of them and finally say, oh, the heck with this. I'm going to go all in on this trade. If it doesn't bail me halfway out of drawdown, let it die. Like you said, Tyler, you can spend too much time in drawdown, like you mentioned, and it can be a bore. You need to get better.
It just like, if I don't have like an active funded account, and like, I mean, I have a cash account that I'm trading too, right? But like, if I'm trying to get funded and I'm in a draw, like I just mentally, it affects me like super negatively. It just, I don't know. Like, I'm way less motivated to like just get up in the morning and put in the work that's like required when I'm just in drawdown in a challenge. Just like, it's like the most frustrating thing. Hey, the homie wizard, what up? Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, I post mostly funny, humorous stuff on my my Instagram. Does the Nas Daddy hold here? 15-minute close, pretty bearish. We got a little spike below, but are currently holding. See if we can fail to go lower here. Trevor, this is are we ready? Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel this exactly. So I'm like, screw it. I'm gonna yeet a trade and start a new account. Yep, that's I get that same mindset, 100%. What software are we using? This is Trade Locker, the desktop app version.
Yeah, usually a good plan will save you.
Yeah. See, this is hopefully, you don't get to a spot where your back's against the wall like that, right?
Yeah.
A Las Vegas. Actually, I agree. A Las Vegas account is fantastic.
Hey,
I got to give me a Vegas account.
Let's suppose you have a 100K or 200K funded account. Let's suppose you have a good week. You make $2,000, $5,000. Go out, buy yourself a challenge, like a 10K or 25K challenge, and go nuts on it if you want to. You earn the right to. Call that your Vegas account. Obviously, I've done that, and I do that.
That's good. Like when you take it, if you could take some profits, right? Use your profits from another account to buy it.
Yeah. I wouldn't take payout or profits and that are necessary to live off of and go gamble. But I think when you're far enough ahead, you can treat yourself a little bit. Maybe it's cheaper to blow a $100 challenge than it is to get a flight to Vegas and stay at the Bellagio.
Your wife will probably like it more.
She would definitely like the Vegas thing. Actually, we're trying to go there again in June.
Nice. Are you when you go, are you like a big casino guy?
Yes.
Nice. What do you play? What's your game?
Blackjack and roulette.
Nice. Yeah.
Because I'm one of those people, even though I study statistics in school, I believe in the rules of lotteries and roulette is that it's like a coin. It's the same probability every single time. But I disagree with that. In roulette, I do think you can stay off the table for a certain amount of time, watch the reds build up, and go all in on black.
Oh, interesting.
And then just keep doubling up every time, when you lose, and it'll kick in. What we did last summer was pretty cool. We went to on foot. We toured probably about 6 casinos and went to the roulette table, straight to the roulette table in each one, counted up how many past 10 spins they did, bet against it. Took us 1 to 2 tries each casino to win. We take our chips off the table, cash out, and go to the next casino. We did that one afternoon. It was pretty fun.
I like it. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah. She wanted to tour them all real quick, and I said, I'll do it if I can play roulette at each one. That way I can say I played roulette at all the major casinos in Vegas.
I've actually never been. I've never been to Vegas, to be honest with you. Bakar, to answer this question, I think trying to be more focused on the process than the money, right? If you focus on the money, it'll be pretty easy to become greedy or fearful. So I think focusing on your process, your routine, your setups, sticking to them, all that kind of thing, making it right. When you grade your performance on the day, like don't grade yourself based off of like, did I make enough money? Grade yourself based off of, did I follow my rules? Did I stick to my plan? Did I, was I putting the process first? And obviously those things are still fear and greed. They're in trading, FOMO, like these things are always going to creep in some sense. But just being aware of them and trying to make it about your process instead of the profits, right? Is probably the best way to do so. And sometimes like ways to curb these things, right, is if you've I don't know if you've ever been on the stream before, but like when you see me managing a trade, like I'll take off partials, right? So like whether you look at it as like being fearful that the trade's going to pull back, maybe you take a little partial off so you're not like you lock some of those profits, right? And in terms of like being greedy, is like, are you letting the greed, are you trying to catch too much of a move? Well, it's like, all right, maybe you exit most of it, but in order to curb the FOMO of it still working in your favor, you leave, a very 0.01 lots on, or 1 micro or whatever it may be. You leave a small position on for a runner, right? So you have these kind of things in place where you can kind of manage your trades that could maybe help you with some of those emotions as well. Do you have any? Mr. Crypto, I do not have experience with Trade Locker Studio. I believe what this is it's like an AI tool that allows you to build your own trading bot through Trade Locker. I haven't personally used it though, unfortunately, so I can't give you any personalized feedback there. I don't know if Brian's ever used Trade Locker Studio or not.
I have not. I have not had the time. I want to. I want to learn a little bit about it, but no time.
FunderPro is like, yeah, we're down with this. We're down with this. Take all of your Vegas vacation money and put it on an account. Challenge it. If you do, just use my discount code. Code Risk Life will get you 15% off.
I do believe, however, the Ashton.
I like this, by the way, Ashton. I think the idea of having. Sorry, Brian, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
you're headed the same way with the answer.
Yeah, I love this idea of having one account that's like you treat as maybe hold it longer these weeks, whatever, and then one that's more of like an intraday scalper type of account. Like just, you treat them a little bit differently. I like that a lot.
Yeah, if you can afford to have more than one account, I encourage to do that for different strategies or instruments for sure.
Still rejecting 22,341.
Let's look at this. I'm
looking at 30 SPX, seeing a little pullback here.
Trade Locker. What is the best? This is my question, actually. I'm thinking out loud. I'm looking at Trade Locker and analyzing the trades panel. You have your positions, tab, pending, close positions, balance, trades. I guess okay, trades actually will show you the, well, let's P&L individually. I'm looking for balance.
Tom, so yeah, I definitely take partials. A lot of times what I'll do is I trade MNQ, which in the futures it's the micro contract. So they're worth $2 per point on MNQ. And I might trade anywhere. My entry position might be 4 or 5 of those. And I'll actually like, if the trade starts to work in my favor and we get a pullback, I'll add to it, right? So say I took 5. This is actually what I did last night. My trade entry was 5 micros. Trades started working in my favor. We got a pullback back to the level I had. I added 3 to it. So my average price got a little worse. But now I was in at 8. And then as it continued higher, I started to scale out, and I scaled out all the way back down till I was in with like 3 runners, right? And then like this morning, we got a pullback and actually added back into those 3. So then I was back in at 6. My average price gets a little bit worse, but I just adjust with my stop loss. So I really like doing that in futures. I'll scale both in and out of trades, depending on like the trend and how the market's looking, that kind of thing. Bakari, I would say like the best way I can explain this is when the market goes from trending, I mean, either because really the market does three things, right? It trends higher, it trends lower, or it consolidates. Those are really the only three things the market ever does, right? I'm personally like a with trend trader, and I hold for bigger moves. Like I hold for 100, 150, 200 points on the NQ. So when the market is trending, I typically do pretty well. And then, trends only happen, I think, on average about 30% of the time. So out of every 10 days, I'm only getting 3 trend days. Sometimes, the market's hot. Recently, it's been pretty hot. But, those other 7 days when you deal with range, I've had to, not overtrade and try to force a trend. And typically if I notice myself, okay, listen, the trend is slowing down. I expect us to kind of range for the next few days here to be a little bit trickier. I'm kind of taking more of a scalp style where it's like, I'm selling the range high, I'm buying the range low. I'm not expecting the breakout. I'm not expecting continuation, right? So I think adjusting to market conditions is essentially adjusting from trend trading to range bound choppy trading. And so if you can identify those things, and if you're a trend trader, you either avoid trading at all in the range, or you identify the range and you sell the highs and you buy the lows. The problem with that is when you switch back and forth, sometimes then, if the market does flip back into a trend and you're trying to sell the highs, that's not what you want. So for me, I try to identify I'm a trend trader. When the market's trending, I want to eat, and I want to eat good. And when the market's ranging, I want to try to avoid more than anything. Well, ladies and gentlemen, market seeing a nice pullback. I don't think super surprising with FOMC. I could see us I think we maybe put in the high and the low on the day among the indexes for pre-FOMC. I personally will probably take a break now and come back 2 o'clock, see what the rate decision is, and maybe look for a power hour trade or something like that. But for now, I think we're gonna hop off. It was awesome chatting with you guys today. Good stream, a lot of good questions. So thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being active in the chat. Brian, thank you for joining me today. And
yes, sir.
All right, one last question from Bakari. In your opinion, what qualities make a successful trader? So I would say discipline, also flexibility, right? Don't get stuck in your in what you think is going to happen and trying to predict the future, right? As humans, we naturally want to be right. And so our ego can get in the way of like, okay, you think today is going to be a long day, but we trend down all day, and you fight that trend because, you're trying to prove that you were right, that today was going to be a long day, right? So having flexibility, right? Being flexible to that, being flexible and reacting to what the market is giving you, not trying to force your opinion on the market and then on top of that, discipline, right? Discipline in terms of risk, discipline in terms of all that stuff, right? So sticking to your plan. That's what I would say. Any 2 cents on that, Brian, before we go?
Just sticking to the plan, discipline, emotional control, patience. I think adaptability, being flexible to adjust your strategies to market conditions, not to adjust them to the fact that you took some losses, but be respectful of the market's consistent condition changes that occur, whether it be seasonally or due to information, and be respectful to each instrument's reaction to different types of events. Gold reacts different to news than, say, Euro USD or something like that. There's different reactions out there. So adaptability, emotional control, risk management. When you put all these things together make you a good trader.
Yeah. Yep, 100%. Well said. Well said. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for being active. It was fun. It was a fun one today. Flew by with you guys being active in the chat, which is great. And we'll be back on Friday. And the following week, I think we maybe will do Monday. I don't know. We may take all of next week off with Christmas and the New Year. We may be back. So I think we'll definitely be here Friday to stream Friday and maybe Monday, but I'm not 100% sure. But thank you guys again, and we'll talk to you on the next one.
Bye.